One of my biggest regrets from studying at Harvard University was I never had a chance to take a class with Elaine Scarry. I saw her lecture many times, was familiar with seeing her walking across campus, but she wrote a book that was profoundly important to me. The book is called The Body in Pain, and I recommend it to all readers who care about understanding the human situation better. One of my favorite parts of the book is the way that she describes how human consciousness is built into our entire world, that the world is kind of made with human comfort in mind. So there's no chairs that are built that are this low, except for children, and there's no chairs that are built with a seat this high. She says that pencils are made to fit our hands. They're made to transmit ideas to other people. They're made to save ideas so that we'll remember things for the future, remember our grocery list, etc. And she says that language also is a way in which we are accommodated to the realities of the world. The most powerful part, though, for me of the book is her discussion about pain. Pain is something that we feel internally and is very difficult to communicate to the people around us. So we may be in excruciating pain, and the people around us may have a hard time believing that we're hurt or that we're injured or that we're in pain. And this is an extraordinary thing, that when you're suffering, the people around you may doubt that you are suffering. That's why she said the invention of the pain scale for doctors. You say you're a 1 or a 10, you can say exactly where you are. She says what a big breakthrough that was, is an ability to be able to communicate what it is that we're experiencing inside of us. One of the most important parts of the book is about how people use torture to change human life and the human self. And she said torture really involves 2 parts. The first part is what she calls making up. And that is where the torturer will make up a story that the torturer wants the victim to adopt. So the story may be, we're superior to you. You will always be beneath us. You should always be afraid of us. We might be just around the corner. We know everything that you're doing. We know the people that you love. We can harm the people who are vulnerable to you. But making up that story is what the first part of torture. The second part of torture is what she calls making real. And that's when torturers use violence to impose that story on the victim. And it's a terrible insight into human nature that we are trying to change other people's stories by use of violent means. This is happening all over the world, and it's certainly happening in Ukraine right now. And part of the reason why it's so important for us to understand the relation between pain and suffering and the self and the objects of our world has to do with the central Christian truth. And the central Christian truth is that Jesus came to teach all people that we are not subject to the rules of the world always, that might does not make right, that the powerful do not rewrite history. But there is a room for what is really true. And what is really true is that God loves every person equally. That there is no exception. There is no bound on God's love. We're all children of love. And Jesus' teaching and his suffering, his being tortured, and his death are part of what helps us to understand that even in our most terrible pain, even in our worst humiliation, even when in our most disastrous moment, that God is present with us. That God understands what it means to suffer and feel pain. Now that's part of the reason I'm here at the Spanish crucifix. It's an ancient piece of art. It's hundreds of years old here in Grace Cathedral. And I see people so often kneeling on the little prayer desk behind me and lighting candles here. And I know that that God has spoken to them, that they understand that Jesus is walking with them in their pain. My name is Malcolm Clemens Young. I'm the Dean of Grace Cathedral here in San Francisco, California. Thanks for watching. More good news.